Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Jason, and I am not here with Katie at this one. Hopefully sometime this week, when I drop this episode live around the second week of September, we will eventually drop our Gen Con recap, post-mortem, and Katie will be joining me. Life has been crazy, so I just want to get something out for you because I feel bad that it's been a month and there hasn't been a podcast. So that's what this is. So in this one, I'm going to talk about some games that I played, because I played a lot of games with some family, and Katie hasn't played for one reason or another, or maybe Katie has played and she didn't love. But I'm going to talk about a few games, no news, and then we're going to talk about a topic. What that topic is, hopefully I figure that out by the time I'm done with the game section, but if not, could get a little interesting. So without further ado, let's talk about the games that I have been playing. Alright, so I have played a ton of games. I mean, a metric ton. And most of them have been with Katie's family at Katie's grandma's house. But I also played with my friend Brandon, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago. Again, it's been a month since we've had a podcast, so who knows. So I'm just going to talk about some. So first off, the game that I want to talk about is a little push your luck game from, I think it's the Op. And it is called Flip 7. And what this game is it's just a deck of cards. It's numbered 0 through, I think, 12. And every number that's on the card has that many instances of that card in the deck. So 1 has 1, 12 has 12, 0 has 1, because 0 wouldn't exist if it didn't have at least one card. And then there are a few little special cards that if you get them, you get to do some actions. And what you're trying to do is you are trying to get different values of cards in front of you to score points. It's a race to 200. So it's my turn. I decide if I'm going to hit or stay. You start with a card in front of you, and if you hit, you're going to flip another card. If two numbers in front of you match, you bust. There is a second chance card that you can get that will kind of make it so you don't bust as easily. You can get rid of that busting card, but you can still bust next time. But you're trying to get as many cards as you can get in front of you to score points, and then when it comes back around to you, you can either stop, take your points, you can hit again, try to get more cards. If you can ever get not all 7, but 7 different numbers in front of you, the round immediately ends, and you get an extra 15 points plus the value of your cards. There are some multiplier cards that may add an extra 10, extra 5, may double your whole score. You're just basically doing a little bit of blackjack and push your luck and seeing what happens. This is a super fun game. I played it at 3, which is probably not ideal. This is going to scream for more players because it'll make it a little bit more fun. You'll get through more of the deck. But yeah, if you like push your luck and you like the idea of blackjack, where you're going to stay or hit, this is one you should check out. I don't have a ton of stuff to say. The special cards are okay. There's a second chance one. There's a freeze where you can throw it on somebody and they have to stop for the round. And then I think there's a flip 3 where if you get it, you can give it to somebody and they have to flip 3 cards. Could cause them to bust, but it could also give them 7. They end the round, they get extra 15 points. So it's fun. It's not my favorite push your luck game in the world, but it is a fun game to just sit around the table and have a chat and just play some cards. So that is Flip 7. So the next game that I want to talk about is a game that we just played. I got this for my birthday, actually. I went out with Katie and we picked up 2 games. The other one I'm going to talk about, we'll talk about after this. But this one's called Tipperary, and this is a game from Gunter Burkhardt and Lookout. And it's set in a little city or a village in Ireland. That's the theme. But effectively, this is a polyomino tetrama. I don't know the actual words, but the tiles that are funky shapes, like Tetris shapes, but these are like really bizarre and big. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to create this tableau in front of you to create distilleries, sheep pastures, some ruins, some bogs, and like some Stonehenge little things. And my favorite part about this is that the tile selection to determine which tiles you get to take. There's this little like spinner in the middle of the table. Yes, I said spinner. There's going to be 5 sections with an icon. Everybody has a little player board in front of them that has an icon on it. And you're going to spin the spinner. Wherever your icon lands, those are the 2 tiles you're going to look at. You're going to keep one, put one back at the spinner. And the game is only 12 rounds or 11 if you're playing 5 players. And you are basically just trying to make the best of the tiles that you can. So you can score the most whiskey points, have the most sheep in a single flock, get a couple bogs together so you can get a bonus point, get some ruins in a straight line so you can get this extra piece to help you fill in like this big rectangular area because you're going to score points for that. And you're trying to complete this around your city. because you're going to score points for that. There's little sheeples that you can get from certain tiles that will help you fill in blank meadows with sheep to grow your flock. If you can have the biggest flock during the game and at the end you're going to get 5 points. It's going to pass around like the longest road in Catan. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. We knew nothing about this when we saw it. It's got Clemens Franz art, but this actually doesn't feel like Clemens Franz art. It feels different, and I don't know. I actually legitimately like this. We always joke about Clemens Franz, but I actually legitimately like this art, and I don't know why. It just feels different than some of his other art. So I like the vibe of it. I love the spinner. I love playing old games with spinners. It's just, I don't know, a thing that I enjoy. So to actually have a real game that incorporates a spinner and not just as a novelty, although a spinner is kind of novelty as it goes, is something that I really enjoy. So this is a fantastic game. We're going to have a video on our YouTube channel. You can check it out. And if you've never heard of it, which I don't know how many people have, but everyone that I know that has heard of it loves it. So if you like polyomino games, I've heard it's similar to Planet Unknown. I haven't played that, but I heard it's got a similar vibe. I would say check this out. It's not super expensive. You can bang out a game in about 30 minutes with Teach. And it's just a good time. I'm not even the biggest tile laying fan, and I enjoy this. So that is my second game, Tipperary. All right, so the next game that I also want to talk about was the other game that I got for my birthday. And I've played this. We played this at Origins with our friend. I think we might have talked about it already, but I wanted to talk about it again because I really like it. With our friend Richard, he taught it to us. And this is called Harmonies. And this is... It's an abstract game at its heart, but effectively what you're doing is you're drawing there's these little stones that come out of a bag. They're going to represent buildings and trees and water, mountains, and plains. And you're trying to arrange these on your board to score points. Each thing's going to score a different way. So mountains want to be in ranges, and they want to be tall. They can go up to level 3. The higher they are, the more points they are. Trees, they want to just exist. Taller the tree, the more points it is. Water wants to be, like creating a river on one side. It's two-sided of the board, but I'm only going to talk about the one side. You want to create a connecting chain of river tiles to score a bunch of points. Buildings want to be surrounded by a bunch of different types of things like water, plains, and trees, and all that kind of stuff. And what else is left? The plains want to be in groups of 2 tiles or more to score some points. And if you can do all that, you're going to have a pretty good score. There's also some cards that are going to represent animals that you can take on your turn, and you're going to try to get, along with scoring the way that I just described, you're going to try to put tiles in certain patterns to score additional points from these cards. They may score up to like 5 times if you can get certain patterns. The easier it is, the more they're going to score. The harder they are, you're going to have to do it less, but they're going to be worth more points. And it's just a fantastic game. It doesn't outstay its welcome. Every game is about 30 minutes. It's gorgeous. I love the artwork. It's easy to teach, except for the buildings. I don't really love teaching the buildings. But it's got a ton of variety. It's got that second side on the board, which changes up the water scoring. I've played that one time. I'm not super familiar with it, and I didn't really know how this tile scoring worked because it was on Board Game Arena. So I'm not really going to talk about that too much. But, man, this game is so good. I'm glad I have it. I've played it on Board Game Arena about 30 times. In real life, 4 times. And I can't get enough of it. It's super fun. It's a looker. The tiles are amazing. Stacking the tiles up on your player board to create the mountains and the buildings and the trees is just so much fun. We've talked about it before, so I'm not going to keep going into too much detail, but man, it's so good. So, third game, Harmonies. All right, so the last game that I want to talk about is one that I enjoyed. It's the newest Kickstarter that I got from Kids Table Board Games. We have all their other games. This is a reprint of a game called Wasabi, and this one's called Maki Master. I don't know why they changed the name. Maybe some rights. Doesn't matter. But effectively, I think this is a straight reprint, the base game at least. So what you're doing in this game is you're going to be drafting a tile. And the tiles are going to be different kinds of like foods and ingredients to make sushi. So you're going to have rice, seaweed, like shrimp, eel, all that kind of stuff. And what you're trying to do is you're going to put this on the shared board, and you're trying to put them in certain patterns to fulfill these order cards that you have in your hand. If you can get them in the correct order, you're going to get some kind of bonus at the bottom. If you can't get them in the correct order, you just play the card. And if you get some bonuses, you may get like some chopsticks or some kind of knife that lets you move stuff around on the board. And you're just trying to manipulate the board, play tiles, so you can get as many of these little contracts fulfilled as possible. Now, we have a couple expansions. One is like this, I think it's an appetizer plate, which is the only one we played with, where if something you complete has a certain color of ingredient, you can take one of these top tiles as well. Just a way to get more points. And if you get so many, like you're trying to collect sets of different ones. If you can do that, you're going to get some extra points as well. It's an enjoyable game. Now, my issue is a lot of kids' table board games, you're kind of doing your own thing. You're not really interacting with a ton. There are a couple where interaction is a little more prevalent, but most of the time it's kind of multiplayer solitaire. You're doing your thing, or it's like positive interaction. In this one, I guess it could be positive interaction, but because everybody's placing tiles on the board, it makes it really hard to make your recipes. Like, sometimes it almost gets frustrating that, like, no, don't put rice there. It already has rice. Why would there need to be 2 rice there? But they're working on an ingredient that's above or to the right of what theirs is, and it really just messes me up. So I got to get some of those bonus cards, which are hard to get if you can't fulfill contracts, to be able to manipulate the board. And even then, you don't get to manipulate the board a pile or a whole ton. You just maybe 1 or 2 tiles. You can stack some tiles on top sometimes, but then you're at the mercy of those cards coming out. There is also a ginger expansion that we didn't play with, and a soy sauce. Maybe that would help. I don't know. I haven't played with them. But overall, I enjoy the game. I like the tile puzzle, but I think it can be a little bit frustrating. So eventually we'll do a video on this, and you can check out how it works, and maybe you'll think it's frustrating as well. But all that being said, I still like the game. I'm glad I have it, and I would play it anytime. So those are all the games that I have played. Let's move on to the feature. For the feature today, I want to talk about games that initially when I played them, they fell flat, or I wanted more or whatever. But the more that I've played them, the more that they have been more fun or more enjoyable, or I've even come to like them. Okay, I'm going to have 3 games, and we'll see where we go from there. Probably just be 3. I don't want to belabor the point. I don't need to make a forever long podcast, so we'll just stick with the 3. So the first game that I want to talk about is a game that we played. Who did we play this with originally? I think we played it with our friends Chris and Amy, and I didn't really love it. I thought it was okay, but I didn't really love it. And that game is Dune Imperium. And this is a game where you're basically playing as characters from the new Dune movie, the modern one with Timothée Chalamet. And you are basically, it's a deck builder with some worker placement, and you're trying to basically be the first player to get 10 points. And you're doing that by playing cards to acquire new cards, sending workers out to certain spaces to be able to manipulate some of the factions and all that kind of thing. And there's also some battling for Arrakis, because Arrakis, spices life. It's all about Arrakis. So that's the gist of the game. The first time I played it, I don't know. I didn't love it. Maybe I was expecting more from it, because I heard so much that this game was like the greatest game in the world, and there's never been a game like it, and it was, just so good, and this dump truck is really cramping my style right now, so we'll just ignore that. So I played it, and it just fell flat for me. But I just played it again maybe a month ago, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun deck builder. It had some cool interactions with the cards and the workers, and I just really had a good time. We played it at 3 players. Maybe that was part of it, because 4 players was a little long. But 3 players, I didn't think it outstayed its welcome there. We played with the starting factions, because that's just the easiest way to go when you're teaching new players. And it was just fun. I don't know what made me change my mind. Maybe just absence makes the heart grow fonder. I don't know. But, yeah, Dune Imperium was definitely one that I didn't love, and now I don't know if I love it, but I like it. So, Dune Imperium. Let's move on. Okay, so the second game that I have played that we're going to say this one fell out of favor, but I just revisited it, and I didn't hate it. Not the rousing endorsement, but that's where we are, and that game is Dominion. So, we had this game a long time ago. It was one of the first games that we had, and it was just kind of boring. We got like Tanto Cuore. We got some other deck builders that were just a little bit more fun. So this one just didn't get played as much. But we revisited it, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. And I really had fun playing it. This is a really simple deck builder. You're using your starting cards, and you are trying to acquire other cards. And just trying to have the most points. You're trying to get these estate cards, which are green, that are worth a bunch of points. so you can have the most points at the end of the game. That's it. There's a bajillion expansions, and we just received another review copy of Dominion. Well, a review copy, the one I had before I purchased. But it also came with the Rising Sun expansion, which is Japanese. You know how I feel about that. So we're going to try to get that played so we can get that up on our channel, because Dominion with some kind of theme on it that's not boring generic fantasy, I think will be cool. So not a game that I want to play all the time. There are other deck builders that I like better. Clank, for one. ICP, Tanto Core even. But this is just, if someone wanted to play it, I wouldn't say no now. Because, coming back to it after all that time, it'd been 5, 6, 7 years since I played it originally. And, I don't know, it felt better. So, just a little more enjoyable to me this time. And that's what this is all about. Games that I revisit and I like. So there we go. So that is Dominion. The last game that I want to talk about that has found its favor back with me, or that I like again, or however you want to call it, is a game that, man, Kitty loves it and she wants to play it all the time. I think it just kind of wore me out. But it's a really, really simple and fun card game, amazing art from Pandasaurus, called Onitama. If you've never played this game, this is a really simple card game. You're going to have a hand of cards. A hand of cards. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to build these 3 columns of cards. They're called like fountains or gardens or something in the theme. But you're trying to build up to 3 columns of cards in numerical order. So like low number at the bottom, high number at the top. The trick here is, if I have a 1 at the bottom and a 6 at the top, I can't play any numbers between those two. So I can't play 2, 3, 4, or 5. I can only play, there's nothing lower than a 1. So I can play 7 or higher. So the more gap that you're having between some of your cards, the harder it is to play some cards. And then you're going to have to discard cards, and that's going to lose you some points, because the cards are 4 different colors, and they're each going to score differently. So there's 3 rounds. The first round, only the blue cards that you played are going to score points, and that's like 2 points a card or something, I don't know. Then the next round, the cards you already have out, you're going to play more. Then you're going to score blue and green, and blue is least valuable, green is more valuable. Third round, you're going to score blue and green plus gray, and gray is worth a pile of points, but they're different numbers, and it's, all that. And then at the end of the game, there's also going to be some pink cards, and based on the number of pink cards that you played, you're going to score a bunch of points that way as well. So the more pink cards you play, the more points you're going to get. So you're trying to create these up to 3 columns, aka fountains, gardens, and you're trying to just make as many points as you can by doing that. Seems easy, but the cards are always passing around. There's only 1 of every number, and you may have to play a card to score some points, and you've eliminated 50 numbers that you can play in that fountain, that garden, and you already have 3 gardens. So now you're discarding cards and not scoring any points. So yeah, I just got tired of this, I think, initially, but after coming back to it just a couple weekends ago, I really had a good time. We played it a couple times, and I reignited my liking of this game. So that's what that's all about. So if a game's good, it should be good all the time, no matter what. So there you go. So those are all the games that I once didn't like or got tired of or lost their luster that I now at least tolerate again. I don't know what else to say. So there you go. I know it wasn't a long one, but hey, I wanted to get something out. You guys deserve some kind of podcast. Hopefully this can at least be, 25 minutes or so. I was just rambling, so who knows how long it's actually going to be. But again, I'll try to get back with Katie. We'll try to get that Gen Con episode out as soon as we can. And then hopefully we can at least get back to having one per month. I'm not going to try to say every 2 weeks, but 1 per month. It's been more than a month for this one, and I am sorry. So hope you enjoy the games that I played, the feature that I randomly thought about after I recorded the games, and thanks for giving us some grace and for listening. So, as always, I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and keep gaming.